4 o'clock. Have we got everybody? Did Renee make it?
She's
Renee?
connecting.
Can you hear me?
All right. I think that's everybody, right?
Correct.
Well, I got 4 o'clock. Call to order. Board of Assessors meeting, October 12th, 2020. And Ms. Coleman, would you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Taking attendance, Mr. O'Neill.
Here.
Ms. Burney. Ms. Burney.
Present.
Okay. Ms. DeAntonac.
Here.
Mr. Mills.
Here.
Mr. Middleton.
Present.
Mr. Scott.
Present.
Mr. Simpkins.
Here.
And of course, Mr. Lee.
I'm here too.
All are
Very
present.
good. Okay, folks, this marks our 7th time we've done this in virtual reality. I will be happy if we get back where we're all sitting around the table. And the office is still functioning accordingly with the coronavirus impact. By use of this Zoom.us, board members and staff conduct the business of the day as we would do under normal conditions. And for the public media access, this meeting is also being live streamed by use of YouTube. For the public, you can also view recorded previous meetings by going to the Assessors website, www.augusta-richmond-tax-assessors.com. That said, I think we need a motion to approve the agenda.
Move.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposers nay. Ayes have it. Need to approve the regular meeting minutes from September 14th, 2020.
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers nay. The ayes have it. Chief Albino Ross. Is Albino not with us?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You want to do the staff years of service recognitions, please?
I'm gonna call on Ms. Coleman to provide me with that list, please.
Yes, sir. We have Ms. Lakeisha Davis, who is 5 years of service as of August 1st. And also Ms. Melanie Oglesby, 45 years of service, recently retired, of course, as of September 8th.
Those are the two individuals, Mr. Chairman.
Well, congratulations to Lakeisha Davis and to Melanie, 45 years. She started there when she was 3, didn't she?
Oh.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you,
Committee
sir.
reports. Specialized Assessment and Obsolescence Committee.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Terry W. is going to talk about enterprise zone properties in her report. That will be the specialized assessment report.
Thank you, Chairman Simpkins. So we go to the Personnel Review Committee.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. O'Neill.
Good
Oh, and Bob, thanks for the kind words at the last meeting. Appreciate your prayers.
It's an honor to least express some kind words. You deserve it. Your family deserve it, and we're still praying for your family and for your daughter in particular. So,
Thank you.
yes, sir. Chairman, the Personnel Review Committee has met, and I would like to thank Mr. Scott and Mr. Mills and you for your help in helping us to move through this process. The principal issue is the considerations regarding Mr. Vino Ross, our chief appraiser. The principal reviews overall staff development, court staff and appraisal staff from 2010 to 2020 comparison analysis. Salaries enhancements, staff salary position at the July 2010 date to a current date by dollars and percentage of changes. An overall of our current organization chart and proposal for transition of TA leadership in consideration of Deputy Chief's retirement as of August 31st, and our Chief Appraisal's pending retirement. We also reviewed and adopted a new organization chart. Proposed salary adjustments for new ORG chart updates, Deputy Chief Appraisers 2 and Supervisors 3, Auditor, Commercial, and Project Center. The Board of Assessors Personnel Review Committee was briefed on August 28th by Mr. Ross and Ms. Oglesby regarding their pending retirement, and with ongoing updates by emails, as well as having had on-site meetings on September 28th and October 8th with Mr. Ross. The committee herewith submits the following. Whereas the committee received the aforementioned information and discussed in detail all proposed possibilities in executive session regarding these matters, and in regular session acted upon the following to wit: unanimously approved for recommendation to the full board to seek immediate advance posting via the county administrator and HR Augusta for chief appraiser candidates to fill the upcoming vacancy. Unanimously approved that the current chief appraiser make the appointments to fill the vacancy deputy chief appraiser positions. Unanimously approved salary upgrades regarding the aforementioned reference and position. Mr. Ross was directed to present his appointments to the full board at their regular scheduled monthly meeting set for today at 4 o'clock. This information is herewith submitted by your chairperson of the Personnel Committee, yours truly, Robert O'Neill. We present our report to the full board for consideration and approval. That concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman O'Neill. Chief? You there, Chief Ross?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
You got the floor.
I want to thank the board Personnel Review Committee and the chairman of the board. Obviously, this is a matter that has been accelerated after receiving notice that the deputy would retire at the end of August. And I thought it would be proper to give immediate, as quick as possible, notice regarding this matter, in so much as my current contract would expire July of 21. I want to thank the committee for all its input as we searched out to try to find a transitional move. What I'm showing you now for the benefit of non-board members is the litany of email issues that have surrounded this fact regarding communicating back to the committee. At this point, Mr. Chairman, I think it would be more appropriate if the full body wishes to act and accept the recommendation until such time that the board does so. These are simply proposals. Should the board, in its wisdom, act upon the recommendation, then I think it would be then appropriate for me to continue with the directive of naming the appointees in a new reorg. What's the pleasure of the board, Mr. Chairman? I suspect if there's a need for any questions, first it would have to be put in the form of a motion to adopt the recommendations. If there is a need for clarifications on the question, Mr. Chairman, I would suspect it would be appropriate to go into executive session to address any open concerns or questions for clarification.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Henry Middleton.
Hey,
I don't understand exactly what's going on. Maybe we need to go into executive session so it can be explained thoroughly, because I did not understand it.
Ditto for me, Juanita, too. There are some pieces that I'm missing. I'm listening, but a couple of things I don't understand.
well, why don't we go into executive session for the purpose of discussing personnel?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir, Mr. O'Neill.
I make a motion to go into executive session for the discussion or deliberation on the appointments, employment, hiring, disciplinary action or dismissal, a periodic evaluation or rating of a county officer or employee as provided in OCGA 5014-36.
Okay, we have a second.
I move the board
Second.
approve the closed meeting affidavit and the chairman be authorized to execute same.
Mr.
We'll do that after we get out of the meeting.
That's
Is
correct.
that okay, Mr. Mills?
Okay?
So we need a second to go into executive.
Second.
Okay, we got a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposes nay. Ayes have it. Ms. Coleman, will you do whatever you, or Mr. Hyde, do whatever y'all got to do?
That would be
Height will
Mr. Hyde will put us
Room.
into a closed session, sir.
Give me
Give
a
us-
moment while I create the breakout room.
Ralph?
Hello?
We're waiting on Mr. Hyde, sir.
Oh, okay, thanks.
You should be seeing a join the breakout room.
Oh, so we all need to join that?
We're still live streaming. If you guys wanted to get off of camera for a moment.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I believe we have everyone back in open session.
Okay. Mr. Mills, you have a motion?
Okay, I move the board approve the closed meeting affidavit and the chairman be authorized to execute same.
Thank you, sir. We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposes nay. The ayes have it. We're back in regular session.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. At this time, if you would allow me to introduce the newest member of our team, Mr. Marvin Sims. He's showing up on your screen as Amber Sokolov, but he's on her iPad. Mr. Sims, if you would like to say hello to the board and et cetera, et cetera. And
I don't have him on my screen.
Ooh, you don't have him on your screen. So
Neither do I.
you got a limitation on the number of bodies on your screen. There's a button there about participate. How about that one?
Okay.
Very well. Mr. Sims?
Hello, how's everybody doing today?
Super.
Fine. How are you?
Very, Marvin joins us as an auditor with an accounting degree from Payne College, originally out of Jacksonville, Florida. He's been with us, this I think your second week.
Yes, sir.
Started with us. Mr. Lee, Bill Lee is chairman of the board. Mr. Lee, would you like for board members to introduce themselves?
Sure. And welcome up to Richmond County from Duval County.
Thank you, sir. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you, James Scott.
Welcome, Brian Simpkins.
Henry Middleton, Payne alumni, class
Yeah.
of 71.
Very well, Mr. Middleton.
Renee D'Antonac, board member.
Vice chairman.
Okay.
That it?
Juanita Burney, welcome.
I'm Bob O'Neill. I'd like to say welcome to you, young man. Welcome aboard.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Bill Mills, Panay.
Y'all can start an alumni association.
This is Juanita Burney. Did y'all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome aboard, young man. We're glad to have you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sims, and I'm sorry that we kept you beyond 5, but we'll figure some way to get that back to you. Have a blessed,
Yes, sir.
have a blessed evening.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing us to get Marvin introduced to the board. And before we went into executive session, you had just received an update from the Personnel Review Committee, Chairman O'Neill. And I think at this time, perhaps, Mr. Chairman, if the board desires, if it's prepared to act upon your committee reports, specialized assessments, as well as personnel, as to whether or not you want to do with them separately or in the whole.
What's the pleasure of the board? Do you want to do them all at once?
Yes, Bill.
Very good. Well, we'll need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Chief, you're back up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Perhaps if necessary, I think I covered the impact should the board move regarding the proposed reorg as well as impacting individuals and positions. Is it necessary that I repost that information again?
It depends on what the board wants to do. Does the board want to go ahead and accept this and approve the reorganization chart?
Well, they did, sir. I just wanted to make sure if they
Okay.
want me to name the individuals impacted. The organizational chart proposes obviously 2 deputies, Brian Funk and Scott Roundtree as the deputies. It includes naming also as supervisors. Commercial supervisor would be William Griffin. The auditor supervisor would be Brandon Jones, and the project central supervisor, Kildred Height. We also showed you the manner of covering the cost adjustments for those 5 impacted areas.
We
Yes,
gonna
sir.
be provided that information, Chief?
Repeat, sir.
We're gonna be providing that information individually, or I mean through an email or whatever?
I'll be more than glad to forward that graph out that showed you that information as well.
I appreciate that.
I believe some have indicated they want to see the graph with the names in it. So we'll forward that information
As well as the chart.
That is correct, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I think I just covered the impact of the approval of the board's recommendation on the Personnel Review Board.
Yes, sir.
And you can return back to business of the day, sir.
Well, the board's additional focus is to take action on appeal matters and receive the office operational updates. You ready to do that, Chief, on the appeals?
That would move on, sir, to staff recommendations.
Okay,
we just wanted to point out that obviously the state extended the filing period out to August the 27th.
August 29th. Okay, I'm with you. I didn't get that note.
Yeah, and then staff is prepared to give you the individual adjustments coming to the board for consideration.
Okay, I think I'm back on track.
Thank you, sir.
Staff recommendations from Business and Personnel Property Division. Ms. W.
Thank you. Good afternoon. We received our public utility values from the DOR. They provide the values. The board is only approving the 40% assessment ratio. That ratio will be on the notices that will be mailed out on Friday. The next thing I want to go over is just our regular staff recommendations. You'll see a lot of appeals where we have proposed no value change. There are a lot of staff prepares on the personal property board work. And then just a little bit of detail on the enterprise zone. We had 3 companies that went through the Department of Housing and Community Development. They filed their application for enterprise zones with that department. And we process the application after it's approved. So those are listed on page 58 of your personal property packet, just under Enterprise Zone 2020. So if anybody has any questions about anything on our board work, I'll be glad to answer those questions.
This is Juanita Burney. On page 26, the bylaw properties. Could you just kind of tell me in general? Do you see bylaw properties on page 26?
Yeah, I'm moving towards it. Hold on 1 second. Those were all under appeal. And so we are proposing no value change on those. we got a lot of appeals at the last minute. And we did not get any information to change those values, so we are sending them through as a no value change.
Okay, and would that be about the same rationale for Dollar Tree on page 28?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Can you hear me?
President Trump is back on the campaign trail this week. Says he's going to his stay in Baltimore after he was diagnosed with coronavirus nearly 2 weeks ago. His doctor announced he's no longer spreading the virus. And it looks like I don't know, maybe a long time, maybe a short time, maybe a lifetime.
What's going on?
Who's doing all that talking?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, on page 34 of 58 with the appeals proposed no value change.
Yes, ma'am.
Down to the bottom, pin number 0274077010 Family Dollar.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we had an original value, which we have an appellate value, which is higher than what we are imposing. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
On the appellant's value, they have an asserted value, and they also have a return value. So those are just the values that come from the actual account. And then again, we are not changing anything. They could have had something that was in a different group, or they could have had something that should not have been considered personal property. And so we would have removed that. So that would have been a reason for us reducing the value. But our last approved value by the board was the 100 or the original value, which is the same as the recommended value.
Right. Okay.
Carrie, what page is that on?
34, 50.
34 of 58.
58? You said 58?
34 of 58.
34, 58? Okay.
Yeah, these are all those are appeals where they filed appeals on a bunch of accounts and we're proposing no value change.
Yeah.
And sending on to the BOE.
Okay.
One question, under the business returns, under reasons, they're saying appeal resolve, no notice, BOA only.
What page are you on?
What page, Mr.
Page
Miller?
2 of 58 and page 3 of 58.
Okay.
I just want to explain that reasons, appeal resolve, no notice, BOA only.
Mr. Middleton, I might be better to explain. That's an audit appeal. We were trying to drill down with the company where their actual issue with the value was, and there were 2 accounts that they appealed that really there was no major issues with.
What page is that, Brian?
That's page 2 of 58 and continues on to page 3.
Mr. Hyde, look at the bottom right-hand corner of the report, go to page 2 of 58.
Yeah, so the rationale behind that was we got to an agreed upon value.
Thank you.
With the tax representative on these 2 accounts. So we are resolving these, and then there's 1 account remaining, which we're recommending changes on, which is on page 3. It would be account number 2100319. That one we're recommending changes on, but we're still not in agreement with the appealing representative. So therefore we're sending that as a 30-day notice. But the other accounts are essentially resolved because they agreed to values and withdrew the appeal.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anything else, folks? Brian, you have anything else to add? I got a note that you wanted to talk, or you might have something to say on audits.
If you want me to head with commercial and audits, I can. I was going to report all that under my section, but
Brian,
Okay,
Brian, if you talk about audits now.
sure, absolutely. So the only audit issue I was going to discuss was the account that was just questioned Prayon. It's been under appeal for the
What page?
completed. That's the page 2 and 3 that we were just looking at.
Okay.
So we have resolved 2 of those accounts, and one of the accounts continue on for the 3 years audit. That'll continue on to a BOE hearing if they continue the 30-day change, and we'll go from there.
And Mr. Chairman, may I point out, that goes back to 2015, so we're pleased to finally get some resolve with those.
Oh, yeah. Any more questions? Well, thanks to Ms. W. and Mr. Funk. Now, recommendations on specialized assessments from Mr. Roundtree.
I do not have anything to present to the board today.
Well, golly,
All right.
very good. Well, I guess, are there any questions of not having anything? If no questions, we'll move on to commercial. Oh, we did the commercial with you, Brian. All right.
No, we did the auditors now for commercial, sir.
Okay.
Sure.
Back up, Brian.
Yeah, absolutely. So as far as the commercial real estate today, I'm happy to tell you that all appeal matters are being sent to the board for approval today. Any lingering appeals will either now go to the BOE or the hearing officer, unless we bring something back to you that they have withdrawn and come to an agreed upon value. That could possibly still happen, but as far as action required for the commercial division to take, all those appeals are presented here for you today.
Brian, also bring up the amended issue that was sent out late today on some resolved hearing officers. Keldrick, do you have that file to post?
Thank you for reminding me. I know Ms. Coleman sent this out this afternoon. It was an amendment to the board work presented to you today. There's 5 accounts on it. 3 of these are Walmart, even though they're in different names. 2 of them are the Hyatt House and a shopping center on Deansbridge Road. Have resolved these. We resolved the Hyatt House with a value change. The shopping center Deansbridge Road was withdrawn, and then the Walmarts, even though it is a value change, it's being indicated as a withdrawal because of the there was a 2019 hearing officer case that got delayed. They postponed it, and then COVID delayed it further. The hearing officer has ruled, and with that ruling, the Walmart representative has agreed upon to us continuing the 299C from the 2019 ruling. So we're going with those values for the 3 Walmart accounts listed at the bottom of this.
Mr. Height, do you have that presentation? Thank you very much. Shrink it down a little bit for me, Keldrick.
Keldrick, that's not actually the right one. This one would be under real estate on the boardwork, October 12th, real estate, and at the very top, it's an amendment. It's not titled amendment, and it has these 5 listed on it. Not on that boardwork. You're actually gonna have to go to the O Drive, October 12th. I don't believe it's a PDF format. It's an Excel file.
And just for information, board members, what you're looking at is a tracking file for hearing officer cases. but we will give you a summary of those matters once we get there.
That the Keldrick, it was the very top one in that folder. Amendment.
Blow it
So
up
that-
just a little bit, Keldrick. Thank you, sir.
There's the ones we are discussing. Like I say, there are value change impacts to all of them except one, but most of it is due to the hearing officer ruling from 2019 on the bottom 3 accounts concerning Walmart, and a resolve with a income review on it.
Thank you, sir.
Anything else, Brian?
No, sir, I believe that completes it for me.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. Any more board questions? Thanks again, Brian. And now for the last, Ms. Greer.
Yes, sir. Welcome, board
Residential.
members. I just wanted to let you know that we sent 2 appeals to the board. Based on the extended appeal date, we had 2 errors of fact. But on page 4 of 7, I want to bring to your attention map 13-2, parcel 46. Four, 7. Well, anyway, I'd like to bring to your attention on page 4 of 7, the numbers were transposed where it said prior year value 148,934. That is in fact incorrect. It should be the prior year value was 138,103. And the value for this year is going to be 148,934. And the taxpayer asserted a value of 150. They wanted an increase, and the house had renovations, so we did go up on the value.
Very good.
And that's really all I have.
Wow. Well, I'll entertain a motion for adopting staff recommendations from business and personal property, specialized assessment, and commercial and residential division.
Second.
Get a second. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposes nay. The ayes have it. Chief, you're back up.
Just give me one moment, Mr. Chairman, to shift over from Keldrick's presentation. To
My
my,
nose itches.
excuse me.
That's you.
Mr. Chairman, board members, just want to take the time on the advisory that was sent out for September, referencing the Board of Assessors and our presentation at the IAAO virtual conference that was held at the end of August, along with a roadmap to the white paper, as well as the presentation that goes out across the county, including the county leadership.
Very good. Congratulations.
In fact, that is the August publication of Fair and Equity, which is the IAAO official magazine. And within that magazine, a listing of the virtual educational seminars in which we are referenced in that format, as I'm showing you at the current. Just a little heads up, we've produced all the documents and forwarded out. It is a possibility that we will end up a tale of 3 Georgia counties in a fair and equitable article into the future. We provided attachments and feedback to all this information, as well as documentations as to even ROI impacts of that process that we went through. Just to make sure I was on pace today, I've introduced Mr. Sims. I've referenced that we'll have interviews starting Thursday. I'm sorry, that's not, that needs to be over there so you can see it. Subject to the board's consideration, we will be making a move to immediately hire an auditor. Per HR has already given us clearance to select from the most recent pool of the second ranking person, Ms. Rowe, who will join us. We will give notification after getting through HR, hopefully before the week is out. DOR certifications, course 1 certification for assessors and appraisers. Finally was letting staff out into the virtual. And we had Ms. Wakefield, Ms. Singletary, and Ms. Holmes to all 3 complete their first course. I believe Ms. Wakefield was counseled out 3 times, Mr. Chairman, before we could finally get her into a course. And we also wanted to note that Mr. Clark recently joined the team. He will take the course at the end of the month. We sent information out to board members just as a reminder, caveat. There was a survey sent out to everyone, and it looks like they are moving on go to have the annual caveat conference scheduled for November 29. That's a travel day Sunday through Wednesday, December the 2nd, typically ending at the midday point. Also during that time will be the annual short course, which is an academic conference of staff members, and courses are being offered from November the 29th throughout the week to that Friday of December the 4th. Just want to give you an update, Mr. Chairman. At this point, we contacted DOR back mid-September regarding will we receive a written DOR report regarding the 2018 full year digest review. And I just want to note that is the reply from the retiring director, Ms. Mills. For 2018, data was collected, but the memo was not in writing. And I do not intend to request the staff produce a report for 2018 at this time. Well, if she doesn't request it before the end of the month, I don't think we're going to get that charge. So, however, I would like to point out that the 2018 Department of Audit and Accounts from DOAA, the annual sales ratio, had no statistical deficiencies. And I attached the ratio study just as the supporting documents to that study. So you guys would remember that is the official ratio coming out of the 2018 study, along with all the other statistical information in which your medium ratio, your COD, and your PRD were all within compliance of law. So the next one is 2021. I mentioned earlier about the notice of the resignation of the current local governmental services, Department of Revenue, Property Tax, Ms. Mills, and they've already announced that she will be replaced by Chuck Nazarian, excuse me, regarding this matter. We are pleased to announce to you that the governing body last Tuesday have approved the contract for your next aerial flight done by Eagle View. We refer to under the old name as pictometry. The flight data collection is scheduled to start towards the end of the year, and completion is early 2021, which is the delivery year. The total cost of the contract is payable over a 3-year period, 20, 21, and 22. All approved funding is in the capital fund budgets for those years. And Mr. Chairman, I have to check. I believe I forwarded a copy of the contract to everyone, but if the board wants to have some night reading, I'll be more than glad to send this document over, but it's on your record regarding what is to occur with all the supporting data that comes with that process. I'm also pleased to announce to you that a request for proposals, RFP number 20-279 has cleared the HR department. That is a 35-page document, Mr. Chairman. And if board members still are in need of night reading, I'll be more than glad to send the RFPF that's been issued out that we hope to hurry up and get your audit of your cell tower project completed. Similarly, it is to be paid for in capital that's been budgeted for year 20 and year 21. Okie dokie, I know you see that I'm spinning with Mr. Chairman, as we prepare for the upcoming changes, these are just challenges and charges to members of my management team on specific issues that are being requested on a more frequent and documented basis, subject to what you have approved today, to ensure that we stay on the right page during these upcoming issues, that we will be expanding parts of our management meetings to also include supervisors as we navigate through what you have approved today in terms of organizational harmony and transitions, to the contract issues and development, to a conversion that's also coming to us. Speaking of conversion, Mr. Chairman, all I can tell you is we were scheduled to kick off September of 20. And you're looking at an email of September the 18th that was received from Tyler and the project manager, Shin Kim. We have been in a virtual meeting that included all my staff persons, managers, that included a host of people from IT Augusta, along with the Tyler personnel. That is my follow-up regarding notice of who to CC on all information to me, my executive assistant, not to mention the persons who are all directly involved in this process. And that is the follow-up that he will include Nieta in copying to my desk. And we are waiting for them to get some corrections to some challenges on their end that we believe we will finally, hopefully, start dumping a test file to start a conversion process review. Because this one is long standing, Mr. Chairman, this is a order of settlement on a case dating back, Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, to 2015. Ms. Chite files appeals all the time, but we finally got this one with a summary judgment out of the court to finally clarify the valuation issue. On the public utilities, I thought perhaps I'll give you a quick update, Mr. Chairman. These are just accounts that are in existence on your public utility, broken out by city, by county, down in Blight and Hestable. And here are your charges for each of them. The city, the county only, Blight, Hestable, for a total of $524 million. In contrast to what those issue was in 2019, you can see that you're up from 495,000 for 495 million. So you're up 28.7 million in public utilities. And if you know, public utilities send in their stuff late, which has nothing to do with the mill rate. So the county gets to see that as a little gravy in their collection box. In return, what the public utility guys return, they actually returned 28.2 million in relationship to what the state finally set. Okay.
Okay.
In your non-operating, there was no changes made. And then the utility guys returned 170,000 above the previous in the non-operating categories. That's just a little inside information on your public utilities. Obviously, the state sets the value, and you guys just adopted the 40 mil percentage. I won't be redundant. There's your up-to-date appeal status, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to quickly jump over overall appeals to the Board of Assessors as of this meeting is 100% complete. But as you can see, we got 11 30-day letters out there, 146 Board of Equalization cases, 34 hearing officer cases. Inactive is just inactive. These are your resolved accounts so far. We got 10 pending for Superior Court. Most of those are pending through a settlement conference. And then that's the withdrawal accounts. But regarding the appeals coming from real property, as of this report, you have not everything in front of you. I won't be redundant with some of this. And this is your update on personal property. I think principally that's dominated by AT&T, still on active issues that we are addressing with them.
Mr. Ross, if I could add a small correction to that, I believe all of those came before the board today as well. So the personal property will be 100% complete. We just haven't coded it in the system as BOE.
Oh, thank you, Brian. That's good news, Mr. Chairman. What he's saying is, well, we're showing 13%. He's simply saying that this is in your board work. It just didn't get coded. These databases are pulled out of the Camel system. So now that you approve it, I guess they'll get that updated, and some of the stuff are shrinking numbers. Thank you, Brian. Regarding 2021 discoveries, you're looking at a total projection of discoveries. This includes everything but any commercial use reval work we may do. Those are residential revals and all permit counts. As of today, sir, we're roughly 18% finished. Of the 4,700 that's been reviewed, 86% of those have already been quality control checked into the system. That's a look at your commercial side of that window. They have 623 reviews, and they are really pushing it on their percent completes. Brian wanted to make sure that you guys realize he's halfway down the road already. That's good news, Mr. Chairman, because that means once we finish with the discoveries on the commercial side, we are automatically moving into a commercial reval work. Some will be reviews of previous revals because of changing conditions that are upon us in motel, hotels, apartments, if any, that we'll go back and review again. So good job over there on that commercial side, as well as residential is likewise reviewing neighborhood reval work in addition to the discovery work and field work by staff. And we'll have your update, Mr. Chairman. I did not post it in this report, but Ms. Greer has provided me an update on neighborhood review work by the supervisors.
Okay.
And I'll have that in your next report. And even though, Mr. Chairman, we started a process before we got here, we modified an underused break room into a office space. I think Brian is sitting in it at this very moment. And so they wanted to christen it for him, to welcome him to his new office. And so I thought it would be not a robbery to just share a couple of the photos that I ended up busting them on. And I thought I'd share it with the staff to let you know all's well here in the assessor's office. Organizational harmony is working, and now Brian is occupying that square even as we speak today, and it's no longer vacant for the children to play in. That's all we have today, Mr. Chairman, board members. I'll be more than glad to address any questions or clarity that you guys may have.
Any questions? Well, thank you very much, Chief. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Ross,
Yes, ma'am.
this one, Juanita Burney, I just had one quick question. The certification classes that the staff's going to be going to, are they going to physical classes or are they going to be virtual?
Those are virtual, Ms. Burney. The ones who just finished, the 3 who just finished was virtual. Those are the first staff members that had a chance to get there. Mr. Clark, and I'm not quite sure if we got Mr. Sims in time, but Mr. Clark is going to be virtual. Brian shaking a no. So Mr. Clark will be going virtual at the end of the month. And then we'll be looking to try to get I believe, Mr. Sims and any new employees in as quick as we can in the next rotation.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
We don't know what they're going to do. They certainly have moved to, I have to wave my hand to get light in here, y'all. Sorry. Since they moved to go with the classes for COVID, for caveat, is not yet known to us, Mr. Chairman, board members. Are they going to return to their normal in-person courses immediately following the caveat quote and the short course? We're still waiting for that answer. But it doesn't make sense to me that you still got us in virtual at the end of October, yet you're projecting at the end of November, you're going to pull board of assessors from across the state to a caveat conference along with generally upper senior staff members to the short course and then return back to a virtual. I just find that a little redundant, but we're waiting to get clarity as to what DOR is going to do. As soon as we do, we'll let you know.
Do appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Is that it? You through?
That's it for me, sir.
Very good. Well, thank you very much.
Thank
Ms.
you, everyone.
Ms. Burney called me the other day and had some questions on historical properties. She'd like to talk to us about it. Ms. Burney?
Okay, I'm up. All right. What I would like for us, and because we've had a long meeting today, we don't have to talk about it today. Throw out the concern and perhaps we can discuss it at the next meeting. But a member of the Historic Augusta organization approached me with a story about a home in the Laney Walker area that had been purchased by a citizen who had some intent on doing some things with it because it was a historical property. And before the purchaser could do anything, the house was demolished without their knowledge. And so there appeared to have been a breakdown in communication or something somewhere. But to make a long story short, I suggested to this individual that she and Historic Augusta make up a list of the known historic properties in the Laney Walker area, and that list be given to our tax commissioner so that as decisions are made about properties, they would like to have first notice because they said they might, want to try to buy the properties to save them themselves in the interim. I'm bringing it before the board because I just want us to think about whether there is anything we can do on our end to assist with that, since we have appraisers going out and looking at properties. And would it help for us to get a copy of that same list regarding historic properties that might be in jeopardy? So like I said, we don't have to, spend time on it today because of the length of the meeting, but if anybody has any ideas or think there's something we can do, then perhaps we can discuss it at the next meeting.
Ms. Burney, if I might inject, on the issue of someone demolishing the property, I'm not quite sure if they even took out a permit, but I think one of the key focus there would be planning and development, who would not issue a permit to tear down a historical piece of property without penalty.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll be more than glad to look into it, but getting a list of what those properties are would be a great first step.
Yeah. So let's talk about this at the next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Burney.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Again, want to thank our folks, Keldred and the Augusta IT department for making this available for us through Zoom. You know, these are not normal times. Pleased to announce that we're managing ourselves under the rules of the COVID-19 and trying to stay as safe as we can. Closing, again, let's congratulate Mr. Marvin Sims and as a new employee. And also thank you, Mr. O'Neill, for all the work you did with your personnel committee, Mr. Scott and Mr. Mills. Let me check, make sure I've hit all I'm supposed to hit. Did I miss anything, Chief?
I think you're doing fine, sir.
Thank you. It has been a long meeting. With that said, I'll reach out to my friend William Mills to make a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I motion that this meeting is adjourned.
May I have a second?
Second.
Very good. There's no discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Are there any nays? Ayes have it. We are stand adjourned.